whether we wanted it or not. We've sent in the Captain Titan Falcon. What's up and welcome. Dreadlock Pac here, aka Big Brain, Warlock main, and today I'm gonna show you Giga Chad Titan mains how to shoulder charge everything. This is a build that I've covered before in the past, way before we got Solar 3.0, and it was good then, but now with the new aspects and the fragments, the mods, and the new subclass 3.0, we can embrace our inner Captain Titan Falcon better than ever. With this build, we're going to be scorching foes and causing ignite. We're going to be melting our enemies and setting them alight. Basically, this is what happens when an unstoppable force meets any object. I came to Falcon Punch in true crayons, and we all out of crayons, baby. As always, if you like what you see, triple tap that like button for me. And if you enjoy the vibe, subscribe. So, without any further ado, allow my past stream self to break down the core setup. By the way, come join us sometime. Alright, let's get into it. Alright, I'm going to try not to nerd all the way out on you guys, but basically the star of the show is going to be these babies right here. I know, right? When the last time you seen these? But basically, it's going to give you an overshield while you're sprinting when you're running any of the shoulder charge abilities, okay? Not only that, but the bottom part is most important. Hits with these abilities recharge a portion of your melee energy. That portion is 50%. Now you pair that beautifully with heavy-handed, where while you're charged with light, you regain half of your melee charge. 50% plus 1/2 equals a full shoulder charge. And so, of course, we gotta lean into the loop of becoming charged with light, which is where melee Wellmaker comes into play. So once you defeat a combatant with a final blow, you're gonna be able to spawn the elemental well, use elemental charge to become charged with light, and then boom, the loop ensues. That's basically the full build. Now you got to be careful when you're picking up the elemental charges, because sometimes you're so fast that it'll actually consume the charge you're picking up, but it's a pretty neat loop. And you have 2 alternate slots to rotate any mods that you see fit, allowing you to customize it your way. And so that is the initial core setup of what I like to call Captain Titan Falcon. And then I'll get into breaking down the different variants and whatnot you can use in just a second. Alright. And like I said, the core setup consists of 3 main mods: Elemental Charge, Melee Wellmaker, and Heavy Handed. As you see here, this is the foundation of every build that I'm going to show from here on, and you can mix and match whichever mods that you see fit. So, like stated before, the core loop is to perform a shoulder charge. You want to then become charged with light. You're going to produce a sunspot, which will help you regen any of your deficient abilities, and you're going to be able to get the restoration effect from that. While you're also have Roaring Flames prop, you're going to be able to inflict more damage with those said abilities. And so you can see how the loop pretty much just feeds upon itself. And then we have Mark 44 standard size and Heavy Handed doing all of the heavy lifting. Now, for this section, I would like to demonstrate exactly how hard our Falcon Punch is hitting for. Our damage ramps up with each stack of Roaring Flames, but at base, our attack is doing an initial amount of 39,000. Just shy of 40k. We go and proc Roaring Flames times 3 by getting ability kills or ignition kills, and our total damage goes all the way up to 67k. But wait, that is not it. I know someone in the comment section is going to ask if we can take those numbers even higher. Hey yo, Zavala. Indeed, we can. Throw in a 1-2 punch shotgun into the mix with Roaring Flames times 3, and we're hitting for 1,000 Master Chiefs for my Halo fans out there, or 117k. That's a pretty nice jump in damage, right? Now, for the abilities. Of course, you want to use Hammer Strike, right? The whole theme of it. This will scorch your targets, but it will also ignite any of the foes that you defeat. This feeds also into Solar Invictus, which will make sunspots for those ability kills, which in turn will help you regenerate your abilities while also applying restoration while in the sunspot. Obviously, we went with Roaring Flames to boost the damage of the Falcon Punch and the grenades, but an added bonus to remember: while Roaring Flames is active, your regular melees will scorch foes. If you defeat those targets with an uncharged melee, this too will also produce a solar elemental well. And when it breaks down to the aspects, the fragments, you can honestly slot whichever ones that you choose to fit your build to your liking. I have a couple of examples here, but as always, use what best works for you. And let's get into the builds. Alright, so first build on the list, one that I nicknamed the Infinite Falcon, is not truly infinite, more of a pseudo infinite. However, if the loop is executed correctly, you should have no problem chaining hammer strikes back to back and continual, especially if you are in a setting where there is an abundance of elemental wells. The extra mods we will be taking advantage of are Supercharge, allowing us to hold a total of 4 charges of light up from 2, and our other mod, Stacks on Stacks, will instantly get us to charge with light times 4 every time we collect a well matching our subclass, which should be every time we successfully defeat targets with the Falcon Punch. So, as you can see, technically, it is infinite as long as we can maintain our charge with light status. In fact, what you're doing is essentially converting your charge with light into Falcon Punches. If you are in a setting where there's tons and tons of trash ads, you can show the charge to your heart's content. I often use this variant during long grinding sessions where I can just turn my brain off, enjoy a podcast, and Leroy Titan anything that's standing in my way. As long as you can get a melee final blow, you can keep this pain train on the tracks. Now, fragments like Char and Eruption are perfect for this setup, allowing us to spread Scorch and increase the AoE of the ignitions. So, get out there and become the Infinite Falcon. Build number 2 is for my survivors of the group. My guardians that stay in combat so much that they don't have time to stop and heal. So, we're going to let the build do it for us. The 2 optional mods that we'll be taking advantage of in this setup will be Well of Life to give us a passive healing buff upon collecting a solar elemental well, and Elemental Time Dilation to extend that buff up to 13 seconds. Not to mention, we can still benefit from Restoration being applied every time we enter our sunspots, which adds more fuel to the surviving fire. Now, this doesn't make you invincible, however, you should have no problem staying alive either. Fragments like Torches will provide Radiant, while others like Solus and Empyrean can extend the duration of Radiance and Restoration simply by playing to the strengths of the build. If you're still in a team setting, Benevolence is an amazing option as well, being able to kickstart the regen on some of your abilities simply by applying these effects to the allies. I really like how this variant showcases the strengths of Solar 3.0 so nonchalantly. I mean, when Solar 3.0 first came out, I don't think it had the same impact as Void 3.0, but the more and more we tinker and experiment with long forgotten exotics, I believe we're gonna find some unique and extremely fun ways to play that we couldn't before. I mean, you could never shoulder charge and make sunspots last season, let alone do all of this and heal. The synergy is mint. Speaking of synergy, don't forget, these boots work on any class you can shoulder charge on. Okay, so this variant is for my guardians that pull up to the LFGs with the most weird but insanely effective loadouts. This build is the definition of why, because it exists. So, to start, we will again be using Supercharge to hold more charges. We'll also be using Quick Charge in tandem with either a full shotgun or a full fusion loadout. Now, Quick Charge plays 2 roles here. One, it allows us to become charged with light, either from shotguns or fusion rifle final blows, and it also activates the untapped potential of heavy-handed. While surrounded by multiple combatants, defeating a combatant with a fusion rifle or shotgun adds ammo to that reserves. So now you have 2 methods of becoming charged with light, and various ways to use that charge. If you find yourself surrounded by ads and you could just mow down a few with your shotty and not worry about consuming ammo, that's perfect. It's even adding ammo to the stowed shotty. Slap on a tractor cannon and you could be the debuff of the team, or you could switch it up entirely and use all fusions. Go Deliverance, main ingredient, and maybe 1K, or you could just mix it up and go fusion, shotty fusion. I mean, I told you this build is the definition of why. Last but not least, this is for my support crew. This last variant is one I like to call the Burning Lightmaker, but be careful. If you use this build around a Star Eater Hunter, they will never leave your side. They will look at you like you are one thing and one thing only, and that is an orb generator. But hey, you honestly can't blame them. So Once again, Supercharge takes a spot in our empty slot, while Striking Light will be making orbs while we fight, with melee kills to be exact. You see, while we are charged with light, when we land the final blow with the melee or sword, we'll generate an orb for our allies. Not for us, strictly for your allies. I can hear you getting bummed out in your thoughts right now, you non-support player, you. But fret not. Striking Light is providing an additional 25% damage resistance while sprinting on top of the overshield that Mark 44 provides. And your allies are getting there super faster because of you, so it might lead to more orbs in the long run. Do keep in mind that this build is feeding off of 2 charges with every Falcon Punch final blow now, which is why Supercharge is so useful. So this is for my support players, not for everybody, but at the same time, you know, you can make a lot of other players happy with this build. And here we are at the end of the show. Hopefully you Guardians enjoyed the build and its multiple variants, and most importantly, the Captain Falcon drip. But if you have any questions or any suggestions of yourself, please drop them in the comments. You know, share the knowledge. Like I always say, knowledge is powerful, but it's the application of knowledge that is power. And thank you for tuning in and spending your time. Now, if you excuse me, I'm off to see what other crazy combinations I can concoct. But, as always, if you like what you see, triple tap that like button for me. And if you enjoy the vibe, subscribe. It's been me in the present, talking to you from the past. I hope to catch you in the future. Adios, I'm Ghost. Guardian out.